Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Melissa and I'm a mystic healer with a decade of tarot reading experience. This is a twin flame collective reading. If you're interested in having a personalized reading with me, you can find my information in the description. I've already pre-shuffled and selected the cards and reflected on the messages, so I'm going to begin. We begin this reading with the Devil card. So the Devil card speaks to us about our addiction to our twin. Then we have the High Priest. So this talks about the patriarchy and the programming. So if you think about back in the old days, a woman had a role. Her role was to become a wife and to bear children and to take care of the husband. The process of getting married was basically, it was an exchange. It was a trade. You'd have these big gatherings and all the socialites would get together and all the females would dress up and wear the best dresses and be on their best behavior and present themselves and try to land themselves a husband. And there was a lot of competition in this process. So when I see with this reading, I was picking up on that. So basically what happens is the twins meet, they have this connection, it's unexplainable, and it's like the feminine wants to be with the masculine. The feminine is the chaser, the masculine is the runner. The feminine is more aware of this spiritual connection. The runner knows that there's something, but they don't quite understand it. And the whole entire relationship was designed for this purpose, because the feminine needs to learn how to separate themselves, to choose themselves first and foremost, to not sacrifice their well-being, to become comfortable and confident with and self-assured and know their worth. Because if you like I was saying, look at the patriarchy and all these years, how the females have been treated. Females are used to being rejected. They're used to being, to approaching relationships from competition. So then what happens is the masculine runs, they get in a relationship with the karmic, the feminine has a hard time accepting it, and so then they continue to pursue the masculine, and even though the masculine's in a different relationship, because they believe that they're better than the karmic, and then the masculine kind of leaves them hanging, doesn't really give them a definitive answer, kind of hey, you do your thing, I'll do my thing. And they will stay in this, sometimes they have a third party, sometimes the masculine will be, eluding that, maybe one day we'll get back together and I love you, or they'll still maintain a sense of, there still will be this intimacy there, this undertone, this connection, but it's not fully addressed. It's not solid. It's sort of just keeping the feminine hanging. And the reason why is because the feminine has to make the decision and say, I choose me. I am not going to sacrifice my well-being. I'm not going to be, I'm not going to settle. I'm not going to just be treated as an option. And it's very difficult for the feminine to do this, because it's it makes no sense. How can you enter into a relationship or meet this person and have such a strong connection and then that person not choose you? So then it creates this whole it just circles and it just makes no sense, and it's they just continue to pursue the masculine. And this is because they're unbalanced. And So when a feminine energy is unbalanced, they're needy, they feel the need to prove their worth, they're insecure. It's what else? They don't listen to their intuition. So what I mean by that is when the feminine continues to contact the masculine, even though their intuition's saying no, that's because they're unbalanced. And so that's all of this is showing up in this reading. So here's the addiction, here's the patriarchy, here is the feminine, you know, having to have that realization. They have to have the contrast. They have to be rejected so they can look at the greater picture to and see things from a different perspective. Understand that, you know, and respect the masculine's decision. Take a step back and focus on their purpose. So here, this is also about the enlightenment, right? This is about receiving communication from spirit. And I was reflecting on this last night, and I thought this was so interesting. So it's like, you can see here, this is a crow. So crows, usually in folklore, they relate to death. You know, it's like if you see a crow in your dream, then it means like there's going to be a death in the family. And then you can see here, there's this little this coin. So there's two sides to one coin. And then back in the day, you know, here with the death card, they would put coins on the person's eyes and they would send them off on this raft, you know, and they put the coins on their eyes and then they'd send them off and then they'd light the raft on fire. As that's how they disposed of their bodies. So what the feminine needs to do is they need to put an end to the addiction. They need to have the realization. They need to come to terms with the reality of the situation, acceptance. And by doing so, they're going to transform. They're going to rebirth into a better version of themselves. They're going to level up. But so here, this is basically when the feminine is unable to accept the situation and they continue to pursue the masculine. And then here, this is like the internal conflict that they feel when, you know, they're thinking about contacting the feminine, or the masculine. They're thinking, okay, I'm going to contact them. You know, they want to hear from me. What should I say? How should I say it? They try to strategize. They try to control it. And then it's just like continues to cause further heartache. And it keeps them stuck in this disillusionment. And here also, and they just continue to be rejected. So until the feminine can be like, okay, you know what, I am choosing this. I can have multiple options if I want. So this card talks about illusion, but it also talks about options. So it's like the feminine could take a step back and accept it and start dating another person, or, you know, focus on their life's purpose. So here, this could be them focusing on their purpose, their spiritual growth and development, or this is them focusing on the masculine, constantly thinking about texting them, you know, what to say, how to say it, maybe spying, just completely consumed by them. And so Spirit's saying, no, enough. Like, this has to stop. You need to stop giving. You need to wake up. You need to leave this in the past. You need to listen to your intuition, be guided in a new direction, trust, lay it to rest. And by doing that, the feminine will develop their confidence. And then the energy will shift, and then the masculine will return to them. That, or the feminine will level up, and then they'll there's different scenarios. So the feminine will level up, the masculine will pick up on it, they will return, but they wouldn't have changed. And then the feminine has two choices at that time. The masculine returns, and they're like looking at the masculine, and maybe they're still kind of shady, or they're like non-committal, or they're just like kind of testing the waters just to see if the feminine is still interested. So the feminine can be glamorized by this, or they can somewhat be manipulated, and then they can make a decision to either stay up here, or they can fall back to the old dynamic. So that's one of the feminine's tests. But if the feminine's up here and the masculine returns and they haven't changed, the feminine can make the decision to keep rising up. And even if that means that they have to leave the masculine, they have to leave the masculine behind. And so then in that situation, the masculine has a choice. They can continue to stay on this level, or they can be inspired and feel drawn and pulled to the masculine, and that will ultimately shift them. And then if the twins continue to do this, and they continue to change and grow, then they're able to eventually be able to enter into a union. But they have to reach a certain state of awareness before this can happen. They have to stop with these negative dynamics, these obsessions, and this addiction. So here, this is like, okay, feminine, it's time for you to get balanced. It's time for you to sit down, write out, stop focusing on the masculine. Stop thinking about contacting them. Sit down, focus on your life's plan. Take an inventory. Weigh the pros and cons. Where do you see your life? Where do you want to be? Where are you currently? How could you do things differently? And by doing this, then, like I said, everything will shift. So I'm going to leave it at that. I hope you found this reading helpful. And we'll talk to you soon. All the best. Much love. Bye-bye.